I want to talk to you about the very survival of your business, or if you haven't started a business yet, the survival of your future business. So if you have an online business or you're using the internet or social media to drive leads and sales into your offline business, you have to listen because the rules have changed in the last 12 months. Now, I know that might sound overly dramatic, but stick with me for a little bit because I've got a long track record and I don't tend towards drama, and frankly, I think I've earned this one. I'm Jeff Walker, and I've spent the last 8 years teaching entrepreneurs how to launch their businesses, how to launch their products. And I've got thousands and thousands of students, and they've done literally hundreds of millions of dollars in launches. Now, when I first started out, I really had to try to convince people that they needed to do a launch. Instead of just releasing your product and hoping it did well, you had to put together a structured, well-engineered product launch, a structured, well-engineered business launch. But now, after 8 years, well, my student success speaks for itself. You see launches all over the place. My students are doing it in pretty much every kind of business, every kind of market you can imagine, every kind of product you can imagine. From dog training to massage therapy to mixed martial arts to raw food to health food to learning guitar, and yes, even horse ballet. They've used these launches, these business launches and these product launches to become known as leaders, to get expert positioning in their market, to become the gurus, so to speak. And they've used it to build real businesses. Many of them have started small and progressively built their launch after launch after launch and built their positioning, built their momentum, and built their expert status. In fact, I bet you there's proof right now in your inbox. No matter what market you're interested in, what market you follow. Even like look at just a market that you might have an interest in, like say for me it's guitar, learning guitar. I subscribe to all these people who teach about how to learn guitar. And if you just go to your inbox, whatever you're interested in, whatever you're subscribed to, go take a look and you will see the leaders in that market, the experts in that market, the people that are positioned as the go-to people in that market. Go take a look and I guarantee you're going to see them doing launches, especially if you've got emails from them for the last 6 months, 12 months. You'll see them putting together these product launches because that's what they do. That's what experts do. That's how experts become known as experts. That's how gurus get that guru positioning, is they do launches. In fact, I bet you're probably subscribed to different people that are teaching about business. Because I know I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff about business. There's no end to the products out there about business, about marketing, about entrepreneurship. Take a look at what they're doing. Not what they're teaching, but what they are actually doing. And I guarantee you they are doing product launches because this is how you get expert positioning in your market. In fact, there's even some, experts or gurus or teachers out there that tell you, don't do launches, do something else, do this, do that. This works, this is the best thing. But don't look at what they're saying. Go take a look at what they're actually doing. Go look at their emails, and if you can track back over 6 months, 12 months, you will see they are doing these launches. That's because they work and they keep on working. Now, in a minute, I'm going to share with you the one core strategy that really fuels these launches, that drives the great launches. But first, I need to warn you, because there is one problem. There are some dark clouds on the horizon, because I'm seeing a lot of broken launches. I just look at my inbox and I'm like, oh, you didn't really do that, did you? Oh no, oops, oh yeah. And then I hear back on the results and they're not going anywhere. And that's a real problem because a broken launch can really set you back. It's not just like a one-time oops, it can really set you back months or even years. Now, those problems are all easy to avoid, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the thing is it's not all bad news. In fact, it's mostly good news. It's mostly great news because I'm seeing these great launches. I keep on hearing back about these great launches from my students, from my clients. I see their results. And in fact, the gap between the haves and the have-nots in the product launch world and the online business world, it's never been bigger. And that's what this video series is all about. I want to show you what's broken so you can avoid that. And it's not hard to avoid these things. You'll see in just a minute. So I want to show you what's broken, but more important, I want to show you what's working so that you can have a great launch. And not just one great launch, but then you can stack the launches on top of each other. So you go from one to the next, and you're continually building more momentum and continually building your results so that you can build a great business, so you can build a real business, a business that gives you the income, the lifestyle, and the impact that you want and that you deserve. So the reality is you are going to launch. You are going to launch. If you're just starting out, then obviously at some point you're going to open your doors for business and that's your launch. Or if you've already got a business, you know that you need to innovate. You need to innovate your offers and you need to innovate your products. You are going to launch. Now the big question is, are you going to use a well-structured, well-engineered launch, or are you going to use what I call hope marketing? Now hope's an interesting word. It can save your life if you're shipwrecked at sea. It's really important that you have that hope that you can hang on to something. But in business, hope is an awful word. You never want to hope that your marketing does okay. We see this hope marketing when someone, they put all this time into creating a product and they work on it, and then they just sort of release it. They just put it out to the world. It's like that field of dreams, build it and they will come. That's hope marketing, and it doesn't work. In almost every case, it's just you sort of fade away and die. That's why you need to put the thought. You need a well-structured, well-engineered launch. Then there's this other thing. It's the perfect product syndrome. And maybe you know what I'm talking about. This is where you have that product that's almost perfect, that's 95% done, there's 99% done, but you keep on polishing it up, changing this, changing that, moving this around, trying to get it absolutely perfect. You got to avoid that perfect product syndrome because it will absolutely kill you. It's the death of an entrepreneur. It's this albatross that's hanging around your neck. You got to avoid that. Instead of obsessing about having the perfect product, you need to obsess about having the perfect client experience. Worry about their experience more than the product. And they can't have that experience unless you release the product. Now, the perfect antidote to this perfect product syndrome is a great launch. In the upcoming video, I'm going to share with you all the different types of launches. But you run people through a launch and they get really super excited. You get so much feedback. You start what we call as launch conversation. And then you use that to get your product out there and get feedback on your product. And then you move on to version 2.0. So the best way to beat that perfect product syndrome is you just put it out there with a launch. So this is the question. Are you going to use hope marketing? Are you going to use that and you start off slow and then fade away from there and wither away and then just die, have your business die on you? Or are you going to use a well-structured, engineered product launch that builds momentum for you, that gives you a surge of sales, and that gives you great expert positioning in your market? The late, great Gary Halbert once said that you're just one great sales letter away from solving almost any business problem. And that's something I've always subscribed to. This idea where if I've got anything going on in my business, any problems, any challenges, I just want to sell a whole bunch more stuff. So the thing is Gary Halbert was absolutely 100% correct when he said it. But times change, and now you really need to go sideways. So I'm sure you've seen some of those old style sales letters, and it's basically a big, long web page. They used to be, before the web, they were hard copy, but now you see these big, long sales letters, and they could be 10, 20, 30, 40 pages long. And there's a headline up here, and then, there's a standard formula. A lot of times it's what we call this PAS, and there'll be a little scroll bar up there, and PAS stands for problem, agitate, solve, or problem, agitate, solution. And that's where, you're basically telling people, you're grabbing their attention with a headline, then you're defining some problem they have in their life. They bought a guitar, but they don't know how to play songs, or they don't have a girlfriend, or their dog won't come when they call them. You define their problem, then you agitate about the problem. You make them feel a little worse about that problem, and then you give them the solution, but you don't really give them the solution, you sell them the solution. So this is that old style sales letter, and for years it worked really, really well. But the thing is nowadays what people do is they just grab the scroll bar and they just go down here and they look at what the price is, and then they decide if they want to buy it. And these old style sales letters, they are just not very effective, and their effectiveness keeps on dropping off. So let's just say that's it's a 10-page sales letter. Now, I want to show you the sideways sales letter, and this is where we go sideways. This is the big innovation that I brought to the market that literally changed marketing. I mean, it changed the way we sold stuff. And so instead of thinking about a 10-page, so this is a 10-page sales letter that's 10 pages long, think about it as a 10-day process, a 10-day launch. And so here we go. Let's just pretend I drew that right. There's actually 10 lines down there. And what we would do is we would release 3 pieces of content. And so they're what we call PLC, that's pre-launch content, PLC 1, 2, and 3. So we've got a video here. They don't have to be videos. These days we tend to use videos because they're just so effective. But these could actually be blog posts, they could be emails. And I'm going to, in the next video, I'm going to be teaching you some of the different styles of launches that we have, including the seed launch. Seed launch is awesome because it's how you can launch when you have no list and no product. It's pretty cool. And often in the seed launch, we're not using videos. We might just be using emails. But let's just go standard style, and it's 3 videos. And you release that first video, and then maybe 3 days later, you release the second video. 3 days later, you release that third video. And you're doing something similar to what you do with the sales letter. But instead of, and this is, remember I told you there was these broken launches. And in these broken launches, what people do is they go literal with that sales letter. They take the sales letter and they split it into 3 pieces. And then they're just given this long 10-day sales letter. And the problem is they don't create any value. What you want to do is you want to be creating real value as you move through these videos. So this first video is often, it's all about the journey. It's where you show people the opportunity they can have to change their life, that they can learn to play the guitar, that they can learn to play songs. So you show them that opportunity for the transformation, and then you show them what that journey will be like. All along the way, you're teaching, you're giving real value. Then in the second video, it's the transformation video. That's where you make the transformation real. Oftentimes, you'll have like case studies in here, and you'll show them how they can really have that transformation. And in the third video, it's what we call the ownership experience. And this is where you start to pivot towards making that sale. You start to make that pivot. You show them what it's actually like to own your product and really have that change. So again, in those broken videos, what they do is they just do like this, remember that problem, agitate, solve? They'll do this problem, agitate, and then solve here. What comes at the end is your sales video or sales letter. And you have that payoff at the end. So it's the 3 pieces of pre-launch content leading into that. Well, the broken launches, what they'll do is they'll define your problem for you, and then they'll get you all agitated about it. And then for the solution, it's buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And it's back to being that, like that old style sales letter. It's when people come into your old style sales letter, it's like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And it doesn't work these days. What works these days is a conversation. I'll get to that in just a minute. But instead of doing this one-time problem, agitate, solve, what we'll do in a launch here is we'll define a problem in this first piece of pre-launch content. We'll define the problem, and then we'll actually give the solution in that first piece of pre-launch content. And then towards the end of it, we'll define another problem, okay? And then in that second piece, we'll solve that problem. You see what we're doing here is we're building up trust here. We're building up relationship. We're building up rapport. Then in that second video, at the end of it, we could define another problem, and we actually go ahead and we solve that problem again. And then at the end, we define another problem. And at that point, the solution is to buy my stuff. So what we've done is we've gone through this cycle, and we've actually defined either 2 or 3 different problems, and through our pre-launch, we've actually solved those problems. So we are giving real content. We're creating real value. You know, those launches where it's just one big, here's your problem, and then get them all worked up, and then give the solution is buy my stuff, that creates this value vacuum. It's this complete vacuum of value. There is no value whatsoever. And that's how you break a launch. You know, a lot of times people, since there are so many launches, since it's so effective, since so many people use this, they're just like, oh, I know, I'm going to do a launch. I'm just going to create 3 videos. And they create 3 videos that create no value. And then they just think that they're magically going to do a launch and it's going to be great. That doesn't work. Another thing that doesn't work is just throwing out 3 random videos. Like, well, I had this video I shot 2 years ago, and I got this video, you know, I shot last week, and I could throw together one more video, and I'll just like, boom, throw out some videos, and then a sales video, and it wins. It doesn't. You have to create this big, you know, this journey throughout this whole path where you're showing the transformation, where you're continually building value, where you're defining a problem and you're solving it. Define a problem, then solve it, and move through it this way. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to layer in here that really makes this whole strategy pop, and that's the mental triggers. So this is the deal. There are certain triggers that create enormous influence in us, in our brains, that cause us to make decisions, that really cause us to take actions. And these mental triggers, they exist in every one of us. And they have been with us as humans for thousands of years, and it's very likely they'll be with us for thousands of years. So no matter who you are, where you live in the world, these mental triggers definitely have an impact on you and your decision-making, and me and my decision-making. We're all susceptible to these triggers. So let me just go through a few of them. I've actually got 20 of these that I have identified, but I don't have time to go through all 20 in this video. So let's just go through a few of the top ones. So first of all is community. Community is a very powerful trigger, and it's like if we perceive ourselves as being part of a community, we will act in accordance to how we think the people in that community are supposed to act. Really powerful. Another one is anticipation. And this is the idea, almost like where we anticipate something happening, anticipating events. If you think about how powerful events are, you know, like birthdays or graduations or holidays, how we look forward to those. Think about the way TV is, especially like almost any TV shows, they have these cliffhangers at the end of the show that leave you anticipating and pull you in for the next show. Even the most basic sitcoms now use anticipation. Then there's authority. Authority is an incredibly powerful trigger. It's a great one to use in your launches. And it's the launch process really brings out the authority. It's one of the most powerful. And that's basically when we perceive someone as being an authority, we listen to them. They are very influential. I mean, almost any type of uniform, like a police officer, a doctor, whatever, that creates authority. It's very, very powerful. Reciprocity is another great trigger. And that's the idea of if we give something to someone, they're going to feel an obligation to give something back to us. And it works the other way around. So if you give a gift to someone, they're going to feel like they want to give a gift back to you. Or if someone gives you a gift, you're going to want to feel like you need to give them a gift back. Then there's social proof. And this is the idea where if we see a lot of other people doing something, then we're going to think, well, maybe there's something there, and we're going to be more inclined to do that as well. And then finally, there's scarcity. Scarcity is just like if there is less of something, then we want it more. You know, I mean, if it's gold, diamonds, Ferraris, whatever, just the fact that there's fewer of something instantly raises that value and gets us more interested. So, I mean, those triggers, like I said, they're everywhere in our lives. They work everywhere in their lives. But I want to talk about how you can take these and layer them into your launch. So here we've got, you know, again, we've got our sideways sales letter. We've got our PS path there where we're just providing great value. We're defining their problems, giving them solutions to their problems, building this relationship. But one of the things is right off the bat, when we give some great value, and that's what I want you to do in your launch is give great value, give some of your best content away in that very first piece, you instantly create this authority. Because they're like, holy cow, this person, if they can just, first of all, you're just demonstrating how much you know, how comfortable you are, and that just instantly builds authority. And then there's this idea that you can just give this stuff away for free. That's massive authority. Then right off the bat, what you're always doing is underneath each one of you're always building in a way to get feedback. Like if you're putting this video out, you've got comments down below the video. So when there are comments down there and people can see other people are watching your video and leaving comments, that builds up social proof. The social proof, that's the idea of, wow, all these other people are watching this. There must be something there. There must be something going on. And then as you move through here, you actually start to build up community. When you build up community, it's like the community actually develops down in those comments. You've got comments down below each one of these videos. People will start answering it. You can start answering them. It actually also brings in another trigger I didn't mention, which is conversation. People love a conversation. They would much rather be in a conversation than be listening to a monologue. Then, of course, you're also building reciprocity. Because you're giving great content, and as you give great content, people, they're loving you. They want to give something back to you. Then as you start to move through here and get deeper, you just keep on building social proof. You keep on building community, but now you start to build anticipation, because they're like, and I guess we got two A's here, right? So this is authority. We're going to call this AN for anticipation. People are looking forward to your final offer, and that you're taking your marketing and you're turning it into event. So all through here, you build this authority. Now you're starting to build anticipation. And then also you want to build in some scarcity. So as you get closer to the end, you definitely want a start and a finish to your launch. This is another place that people mess up their launches. When you have your launch, it has to be a very definitive start and an end to that launch. There has to be some special deal here when you do open up your cart and start selling. There has to be an end to that launch. They have to get some special deal, and then that special deal ends. And literally that will double the sales in your launch if you have that hard deadline at the end of the launch. And that's where scarcity really starts to play a piece. So these mental triggers can be really powerful. You're building authority all the way through. You're building social proof, because people can see all the interaction going on and all the comments. They can feel that buzz. They can feel that community. And the community, what is the community? It's all this discussion that's happening down, below your videos. And then towards the end, you build that anticipation, that social proof, that scarcity. And when you layer all these on top of creating this path of problem, solution, and adding value, it's just a really, really powerful model. The reality is it's a lot easier to sell to someone if they know, like, and trust you. I like to think of it in terms of like this BS detector. It's like you walk onto a car lot, you see the door open up and the salesperson's coming towards you, and instantly your BS detector's in the red zone. It's like you're not going to trust them. Or maybe you trust them, but you're not going to trust them as well as you trust your best friend. On the other hand, if your best friend says, hey, I just bought this new car. I love this new car. You got to check it out. It's completely awesome. Well, your BS detector is backed way off. You trust them. You believe them. Maybe, they tend to have a different opinion on things, but you definitely trust them. So the thing is that old style marketing, that old style sales letter, or even those broken launches where you don't provide any value, that BS detector's in the red zone. But if you do this, if you show people, their problem, solution, if you layer in all these mental triggers, that BS detector backs way off into the safe zone. And then when you actually do get to your sales letter or sales video, it might spike up a little bit because you're eventually going to ask for some money. You have to do that to make the sale. But the reality is that BS detector it stays a lot further down in the safe zone because you've built up that relationship. What we're really talking about is creating a conversation with your market, delivering real value, creating a real relationship, and then asking for the sale. Okay, so that is the single most effective way for making sales, creating an impact, building a business there is. So the big question is, though, what does it do for you? How are you going to use this? So if you're watching this, you probably fall into one of three categories. First, you might have an online business. You're already selling stuff. You've already got some traffic to your website. And if that's the case, then this is an awesome day for you, because this is the way, there's just no other way to get more leverage quicker in your business. Basically, you take your existing offer, you can tweak it, you can add some bonuses, maybe change the pricing up a little bit, and do a launch. Basically, relaunch your product, relaunch your business. And like I said, this is the absolute fastest way to increase your leverage and just get big time results in no time whatsoever. Second category is maybe you have some type of a business where you might be a practitioner, you might have a service-based business where you're working with clients, but you don't have leverage. You don't have real leverage in your business. You don't have products. You're more working with people. In that case, we've seen this over and over. I mean, you might be a practitioner who's helping people with their wellness or their health or their money or their business or real estate or their hobbies or their sports. In this case, what you want to do is you need to create some leverage. You want to create some products. Just think about it. If you had a product that sold for, say, $97 or $297 or $997, and you put together a launch and you sold a whole bunch of those, how would that change your business? How would that change your life? And then you kept on making sales month after month. That's what this is all about. If you think about it, you've already got these clients. And a bunch of them would probably love to get some more of you, to buy some more of you, to give you some more money for a product. And so, these launches, product launch forms, that can work fantastic for you. The sideways sales letter is awesome because you have these clients where you already have this relationship. Now, the third category is maybe this all sounds great. Yeah, Jeff, I love it. It sounds amazing, but you don't have a business. And you don't have a list, and you don't have a product, you don't have any kind of following, and maybe you don't even have an idea. And if this is you, well, I've got a real soft spot for you because that's where I was not very long ago. I was actually Mr. Mom. I was at home taking care of a couple of babies while my wife was out making a living, supporting the family. I hadn't made any kind of income in years. And let me tell you, it is absolutely possible to build a real serious business. If you look at what I've built, where I've got thousands of clients and I've made this impact where my clients have done hundreds of millions of dollars of launches, it just shows where it can go if you're just starting out like I was, Mr. Mom at home taking care of a couple babies. So if you're just starting out, this can absolutely work for you. In fact, the thing you're going to want to do is what I call the seed launch. Now, the seed launch, I'm actually going to be teaching that in my next video. In my next video, we're going to go deep into the seed launch. That's where you can start with no list and no product, and you basically get paid to create that first product. You get paid to create that first list. How awesome is that, right? I've used the seed launch over and over. In fact, I still use it. I've used it recently because the seed launch, if you already have a business, it's great if you want to test out a new product idea, or if you want to get paid for that, paid to create the product basically. So the seed launch isn't just for starting out, but it's great for starting out. So I'm going to be going deep into the seed launch in my next video. I'm also going to cover launch selection because I showed you the sideways sales letter, but how does it actually fit right into a launch? And the thing is there's a number of different launches. I've got 6 primary types of launches. And in the next video, I'm going to be going through launch selection and showing you where each type of launch can fit in, because you got to pick the right launch. You can't just throw a bunch of videos out there. We've already seen that. And you can't just do any kind of launch. There's specific launches based on your specific situation. I'm going to be going into that in the next video. And then super important is the launch stacking. I'm going to cover launch stacking in the next video. And that's this idea of you do this first launch and then the next launch stacks on top of it. And generally your results get better as you move along. Your results get better, you get more influence, you make a bigger impact, your business grows as you go from launch to launch to launch. That's how I went from my very first launch, which did $1,650. And when I did that, I was really happy about it. I was doing backflips over $1,650, trust me. But I went from that first launch of $1,650 and I built on it, I built on it, I built on it. I eventually did a launch that did millions of dollars. So that's all about launch stacking. So that's in the next video. But first, right now, what I would love to do, what I'd love you to do is scroll down, hit that Facebook like button, hit that share button, because everyone loves to get likes. And then really scroll down and leave a comment. That's what I really want you to do. I want to hear from you. How is this going to fit into your life? How is this going to make an impact in your life? I'd love to hear how you're going to use the sideways sales letter within your life to either build a business or build your current business. So I'd love to hear that. I'm going to be reading every single comment personally myself, and I'll be responding to as many as I can. So just scroll down right now and go ahead and leave a comment.